Hello guys, welcome to my channel.
Myself, Dr. Vipin Kumar. Welcome in my new series of RESTful API using Node.js. In this lecture or tutorial, I want to explain you what is a RESTful API because we are going to use or we are going to make a RESTful application in Node.js. So let's understand what is REST. A REST is stand for representational state transfer. Means there is a state on a server whenever we make a request by using any resources. Resources means the URL, your resources identifier. Then on that time there is a one representational state on that server. Means whenever we make a request on certain time there are some data available on server and we are going to fetch that data from the server. So at that present, at timestamp, the data is available on that particular server. We are fetching from client side toward the client side that particular data. So we are transferring the state of a server to the client. So this type of mechanism is called a representational state transfer. Means representational means the data available on a server we are presenting to the client from a far distance using internet technology. That is called the representational state transfer. It is architectural style or a standard for distributed hypermedia system. Hypermedia, that means your text, your graphics, your images, your videos, audios, so many types of data available on internet at different locations. So we are fetching that data in a distributed fashion. This type of system by which we are fetching a data from distributed media at a particular one centralized client is called REST. So this type of a style is supported by the REST. This is REST architecture. Actually, it was first represented by Roy Fielding in 2000 year in his dissertations. Dissertation means in his completing his degree, and it shown by that person, Roy Fielding. And from that particular year we are using REST. There are certain principles guidelines for REST. If you want to implement a RESTful API by using any particular language, in this series I'm going to use Node.js. So first thing is client and server. Means there should be a client at the one end and second end there should be a server. Then only RESTful is possible. Second thing, RESTful is similar to the concept of HTML language because the HTTP protocol and HTML language these are stateless. Similar fashion the RESTful is also stateless. So we have to maintain this property also, and we have to make a request from the client side to server side in such a fashion. It should be stateless. We can cache data also. This is stateless, but we can save data as per the requirement. It's called caching. In internet, there is a term caching, to saving it temporarily some kind of data on client's machine or server machine for fast fetching of data. So these kind of thing is called cacheable. Uniform interface means we having a one URL that is fixed for each and every client. Means if there is suppose there is a URL and that URL is same for Android user also, for iOS user also, for web application also, same kind of interface will be used by each and every client, and the same kind of data will be generated by this particular server. Layered system means RESTful is also in a layered, means there is a client, there is a server, there is a database, so there are certain layers on which it works. Code on demand means if you require, actually for implementing a RESTful API we doesn't demand for a particular language, but it is optional. For example, you may use Java also for fetching a request or for implementing a RESTful application, or you can use Node.js, you can use C#, you can use any language, you can use JavaScript, any language for implementing this particular RESTful interface. The one more terms in The key terms in REST API is called resources. The key abstraction of information in REST is called resource. Means the main thing is a resource. Any information that can be named is a resource. On the internet, whatever you give a name, for example, we say I have a PDF document, I have an image, okay, we have a non-virtual object, like we have a information of person, ages, values, we have so many things, so many data is available on internet. Daily we suffer internet by using Google. So all kind of that data, all kind of information is called a resource, and that resource we want to fetch in our applications. For example, whenever we use Flipkart or Amazon types of applications, those applications have a lot of information about products, their price, their information, color, images, everything. So all those types of things we fetch by using REST API. So all these called resources. And REST use resource identifier. So identifier means there is a URL that we use to fetch a data from the server. That is also the interface between client and server. The state of a resource at any particular timestamp is known as resource representation. For fetching a resource, we having a resource method. As we know that in HTTP protocol, we having a get and post methods. And when we are using HTML language, then we use action methods and put get and post. Similar fashion, we having some methods also in RESTful API. Actually, these methods is not the same as per this methods of HTTP, but they are look like similar for that. So we having a get, post, put, delete, etc. are the resource method in REST. For example, for getting information from the client, we use get method. For inserting a new information on server, we use post method. For updating a previous information on server, we use put method. And for deleting existing information at server, we use delete method. There are certain more methods are also available, like we have copy, we have a header, we have patches. So many methods are available. These are general. Those we are going to use also. Now next thing is REST status code. As we know that when we work on internet and we give some URL that is not already present there, so it give the error 404. That means the data is not available. Like this, for implementing a RESTful application, we should remember these code also. These are general code which I have shown here in this PPT, like 200 means okay. So whenever you make a request to server and you get the information or you work done, is called okay. That means 200. So we have to give the reply to the client that yeah, everything is okay, you are getting your data by giving a status code 200. Similarly, when you insert some record on data by using a post request, then we say 201. That means the record have been inserted. So we have some authentication things or agreement type of things. So if server accept the request, then we can say 202, the server request is accepted. Similarly, we have so many status code you can remember from internet also. So here I have given some more also. 400 means bad request, the request is bad. 401 means unauthorized. 403 means forbidden, you are not a authorized user. 404, the famous one, not found. So many other also, just like a 500 internal server error means that is the problem of server, not your problem, not a coding problem. Okay, at the last, we should understand what we are going to implement in future lectures. So how the RESTful API work? Actually, if you see at this way, we having a Android UI. Means there is a mobile phone which having some interface, some application that is using Android. We having other application on which we having a iOS, Apple phone. We have a web interface. We have other UI and other interface also. Same kind of things. Same. All these interfaces like Android, iOS, web, other, they are using same kind of interface, same kind of resource identifier. It's called this. Suppose http www.vipinsoft.co.in student ID, and student ID is 12. So we are going to fetch the record of the student, those ID is 12, by using this resource identifier, this URL. This request is going to the server. In this terms, because we are going to use Node.js, so in Node.js we having a web server called Express.js. So that Express.js is a server which is getting a request from the client. Now client are these interfaces: Android application, iOS application, web application, and other device application. These are applications. So these applications are coming on Express. So this Express is fetching data from database Mongo. So Mongo from the Mongo, and performing a database operations, means insertion, deletion, updation, and all the required data Express is displaying in terms of JSON like this: name, Vipin, roll number, and photo, URL of the image where the image have been saved, and this put this data toward the screen of the client. Means this data is going as output to the client. So all the interfaces, whether it is Android interface, whether it is iOS interface, whether it is a web interface, all interface getting a same kind of data. But these all devices have a different application and different UI interface. And one interface may be good in look and feel, other may be bad. So data is same, just the interface and the screen, the UI interface of the screen is different. So this type of things in which we make a resource identifier, we make request to the server fetch data from the database and give the output in JSON format. Remember that the in RESTful API, data is always present as output in a JSON format, and we always give the request, means the client always make the request in term of resource identifier. This whole process is called RESTful API.